All right, we are live stream. Chat overlay. We don't want that. Continue. All right. Welcome everybody to our live stream with Okletey Wilson-Tei. Okletey, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Brad?
Excellent. So this is our first live stream. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, another one that I can't see, and LinkedIn. The whole point of this is to have a discussion. You know, I believe that success comes from discussion, and a resource for people to learn. You're a successful owner of 9 years, and you have a lot to offer. Full disclosure, I know Okletey, and I have for years. I've been to some of his meetings and outings and stuff like that. I went to one of his weddings. Him and his wife got married 3 times, so they refused to marry anybody else ever again.
Yeah.
So we know each other really well. So when I decided to do this, one of the first people I thought to talk to is Okletey. So how are you doing?
I'm great, man. Just working and being a new family man. So that's fun.
Yeah. How old's your daughter now?
She is
How old is she?
a year and 2 months.
So she's on the move.
Yeah, running, jumping, climbing. Can't really leave her in any spaces now.
Yeah, no, you got to be right on them. When my daughter was about that age, I took a toy of hers and I put it up in my closet. She started pulling out the drawers and climbing the drawers. Kids are scary.
Yep, that's for sure. It was, what was it? It was, I think, 2 nights ago. Megan was looking at the outlet and she sees Carmela with clothes on her head dancing in her crib. And we come out here to her room and she's actually leaned over, opened one of the drawers, took a few clothes and draped them over herself. And she was having a good old time by herself. So, yep.
That's awesome. Well, cool. All right. Well, we'll get into it. We have 5 questions that we're going to ask you. The whole idea around this is to get the real answers, because the whole idea isn't to spring questions on somebody to see if they make a mistake. Everybody gets the questions prepared, and they'll probably change over time. I don't have any pandemic questions or COVID questions in here because I think everybody's sick of it. So piss on it. All right. So the first question is, Okletey, what would people be surprised to know about you?
People will be surprised to know how many things actually frighten me. And it's the smallest things, I am terrified of spiders, can't stand snakes. I don't like flying. I don't like open spaces. I don't like crowds. And I think most people will be surprised that there's that many things that frighten me. And then when I say frighten me, as in I can't do them. I will not do them. And it's just, I don't know where it comes from, but it's very real. So
No.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that about me.
Yeah, no, well, you also have a lot of confidence in you have arms the size of tree trunks. So the concept of you being afraid, we should all be walking around terrified.
Just, I don't believe things that don't have legs should be able to move that fast, Don't trust them.
I always say that I don't like anything that I can't shoot. And you can't shoot a fly.
Fair.
All right. Number 2. What are some of the most difficult hurdles you've had to overcome?
So I was thinking about this question, and it was right around the same time. And it was 2014. I had moved my company here to Charlotte, and we were having a really tough time figuring out the market, figuring out the product and services. And at the same time, I ended a relationship that, I was in. And, shortly after that, one of my fraternity brothers got captured by ISIS. And
Oh,
it was just, yeah, it was just a bunch of things that had happened. And it was things that had happened to me personally that were affecting my business. And, at that time, I had just come off a year where I had gotten a ton of accolades, had made a ton of money, I had had a ton of expansion. So it was a very confusing time for me. And I remember going home for Christmas. I spoke to my dad, and he said, "You know what? Just come home." So I went home for Christmas, and just sitting down with my dad. Like, to be honest, I had no plans of coming back. I was in my mind. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do any of this. What's the point if all this stuff happens to you? And just chatting with my dad, and he had a couple of questions. And my dad is very methodical with with how he asked certain things, and I knew he was going somewhere. But bottom line, if I should sum it up, he asked me, he's like, "What you're doing right now, is that going to make you a millionaire?" And I said, "Yes, if I work hard enough." And he follows it up with, "Why aren't you working hard enough?" Now, remember verbatim, my answer was, "I am working hard enough. I'm exhausted every time." He said, "No, you're sitting here at my dinner table." And, that got me thinking. I was like, man, he's right. I'm not working hard enough, and I need to work a lot better. And I just thought about what was going on with me. And I figured if I was not going to do well, it was never going to be because of a lack of effort. So I booked a flight back to Charlotte. I came back, and, I got busy. And funny enough, a month and a half later, everything turned around. Well, not everything, but most things turned around. And, I'm glad that I had that conversation with my dad, because if I didn't, I would have made a decision that I definitely would have regretted. We still on here? Did I lose you there, Brad?
All right. Hold on just a second. Moving
sorry.
inside.
Yeah, we got to
You're
get
fine.
closer to SIG. I wanted to do the snazzy outside area, but we got to go in.
You're okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking right here. There you go.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
So, it's funny. Everybody assumes that success is a straight line, and that, you have a good year, so every year after that will be just as good. And, as you know, it's just not like that. But when you go through those down times, you learn so much. That's where you make your future money. And it's important to go through these things, or you're not going to be strong enough to handle it.
100%. It's, for me, the confidence that I gained from coming through on the other side of that. I just figured, what, business is going to be tough. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be grinding. It's going to be all those things, right? It's going to be life. And, I knew for a fact that more bad things would happen, or should I say more undesirable things would happen. And as long as I was in control of what I did after I felt the way I felt, I was okay.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. That makes sense for sure. So, obviously, you're a married man now. You got a child. When you started out, you had a why. Obviously, you can explain how it's changed, but can you tell us what your why was, what your why is, and how it drives you?
Yeah, 100%. So, when I first found this this entrepreneurial path, my why was just to make it on my own. My parents had been they've always been very generous, very kind. My dad, my dad has done very well for himself, and he's also an entrepreneur. And I remember growing up, I was very aware that what we had was not, it was not created by me. It was created by him, and he was, generous enough to, just to give us as much as he did, and I always loved that. I always wanted to do the same thing. And when I came, when I came to the realization that I didn't want to work for anybody, and I got on this path, I just wanted to win so bad. I just saw myself doing what my dad had done for us. And I just, in my mind, mathematically, I figured, well, he gave me way more than he got. I should do a lot better than he did. It's just, that's how I look at things. So that was a huge driving factor. But now it's the same thing. It's just more tangible now. It wakes me up at 5 a.m, and I see her again at the end of the day. And I have a wife in Megan, which it's interesting for me because when I married Megan, in my mind, I just figured, you know what, if you're not going to work your butt off to improve her life, don't even go there, because it's all about that, right? I can always take care of myself. I'll figure out ways to, figure my life out. But now someone is depending on me now, I've brought someone into this world. I got to make sure that I am building the best possible space for her to just succeed at whatever she decides to be, or whoever she decides to be. So that's massive. That's a massive drive for me on a daily basis.
No, I can understand that. You can't explain to somebody what it's like to be a dad until you are one. Like, it's just, when that little hand goes around your finger and they squeeze, you're done.
Yeah.
It's permanent and forever.
Oh man, I try not to look in her eyes then, because I can't say no. I just can't. I was like, oh, it's not good.
Okay, now Megan will give you the same heat brain it gives me. She thinks I can't say no ever. And sometimes she's right.
A lot of the time, yeah. That's for sure.
What are you going to do?
I'm like, oh, let her do it, babe. What's the big deal?
Yeah. They're only knives. She's
deal.
joking. It's great. So outside of business, what makes you happy? What kind of hobbies do you have?
Man, well, the first one is I love to lift weights. I love to physically push myself because I'm curious. I think the body is amazingly designed, and I think, me trying to figure out how far I can go is fun for me. I love watching soccer. I played soccer all my life. Love spending time with my family. Believe it or not, I am obsessed with doing my daughter's hair.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. She fights me all the time, but it's just a really good time. And that really is it. And once in a while I'll drink some good bourbon. But that's not that complicated.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's so funny to me when the whole entrepreneurial thing, and then you add in the family. Before the family, you're literally working as hard as you can to make your business work. And then you have the little ones come in, and suddenly you've got, several hours or more stuff. You still have all the other stuff to do, and you still manage to somehow. But there was no free time. Yeah, you figure it out.
Oh man, I was talking to Jimmy Rothermill on the weekend, and we're chatting, and I said the first thing I realized when Carmela came into the picture was how unproductive I was with my time. I was just like, whoa, what did I do with all that time? And it is what it is, right? You don't know what you don't know, but you're so right.
Yeah, it's wild. changes. I mean, it changes how you spend your time for sure, and what you value, you know. And you know, as we know, the one thing you can't get back is time. Like, money comes and goes, but time is permanent. When it's behind you, it's gone.
Done. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So our fifth question is, what are your favorite success habits, and what habits from, you know, pre-entrepreneurship, are there any that you left behind or changed?
Yeah. So I'll start with the ones that I left behind. So I used to wake up when I wanted to, and I had to leave that behind. Uh, you don't get a lot done that way.
No, you don't.
I wasn't very organized. I went to bed pretty late, and I had the habit of, when it happens, I'll deal with it. You know, so those things I had to leave behind. Now, the habits that I really value right now, number one, it's work ethic. You know, I was always a hard worker, but I never strived to work as hard as I possibly could. And now I feel, for me, my definition of gratitude is doing everything that I can with the day that I got. You know, and it means I am working a lot of the time. You know, another success habit, in my opinion, is waking up early. You know, because truth of the matter is, we live in an age of Google and YouTube, and people can learn how to do a ton of things. So when it comes to your knowledge, and when it comes to what you know, or what you know how to do, you don't have an edge for the most part, because it's available to everybody. And I've always known, okay, if we all have the same amount of information, and I decide to wake up a little earlier and actually apply that information, and I do that consistently, the chances of anybody beating me, very, very slim. So when I think about that, all I want to do is, I just assume that everybody knows what I know. I just need to have more time to actually use what I know than most people. And if I do that, I'm going to stay ahead of the curve.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's so funny. People who say, well, I just didn't know. Well, you could have gone to the library, but now you don't even have to. Like, everything you need is on the smartphone in your pocket.
Right here.
More powerful computer than people on the moon, or filmed it, depending upon what you believe.
100%. It's just amazing, and it's, I think these smartphones became a thing when I was a sophomore in college. And I remember thinking, man, if I knew how powerful these things were, I wouldn't have to study.
Well, fortunately, we had Zoom and all that during the pandemic, so that people had a way to continue to do what they were doing and all that kind of stuff. Everybody, and there's so many programs and whatnot, everybody has a smartphone. So it's not socioeconomic anymore. You have access to the information. What are you going to do with it? I read an article, this lady, she's a single mom of 2-3 kids. She built a house from YouTube videos. She did it herself. YouTube videos. You got to make sure you get a good video, because otherwise you don't do it wrong. But
she messed up everything
and did it. Ask my son about guns or cars. He knows all kinds of stuff about it because he YouTubes it.
You learn everything that way. And you're 100% right, especially after this pandemic, because the internet is now considered a utility. So there's so many different ways to have it, and you have devices that you can get it on. Not knowing now is a decision.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see some changes here, from a recruiting perspective and whatnot. The federal extras are supposed to go away by September. 22 states have cut it short quicker. But I think you're going to find that the people who start back to work this year are going to be more likely to be successful than the ones that wait till the very end. Because I just think that the habit's been built into them too much. And then there'll be the May grads next year, all that kind of stuff. But I think there's going to be a portion of people who first of all, for as a business owner, I look at everything as like you want to out recruit. I don't care if it's the same business, different business, could be the pizza place. If you're trying to hire the same person, you got to out recruit them. And I think the people who get on that this year are going to have a better 2022. And we're super excited about 2021, but 2022 is going to be pretty unbelievable.
I'm curious and I'm excited, and I think it's pretty cool to watch what is happening. I think it's pretty cool to actually hear, because I ask people all the time, if they were on unemployment or not, just to walk me through, their experience and all that stuff. And it's phenomenal to see what a lot of these guys value. Now, the reason I ask that is, well, we want to work with great people. I need to figure out, what value I can create to make you want to work with me. And it's the information that you gather that way is mind blowing.
I would agree. Do you have any closing comments that you think would be helpful?
When it comes to what we do and when it comes to, this field, right? Entrepreneurship, I just believe that more people should have fun. And I know it sounds so basic, it sounds so silly. But every time someone asks me, Okletey, what would you have done differently when you started? I would have had more fun. I was very militant because in my mind, this is a massive opportunity. I have to match it with massive effort, which meant serious Okletey, so I never went into conversations seeking to understand. I never really entertained a lot of different opinions, and I never really listened just because I wasn't there to have fun. I was there to do a job, but at the end of the day, I truly believe in my 9 years, the people who are having the most fun do the best job.
I would
And
agree with that.
they do it, and they make it sound awesome. They make it sound exciting, and they actually make it fun. They make it enjoyable, so more people want to do it.
No, I agree. I do have another question come in for you. What 3 tips would you recommend to scale your business?
To scale your business. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, three tips to scale your business. Could be 4, could be 2.
All right. So number 1, figure out what systems are working and make sure that they're replicable. Number 2, delegate and trust the people that you're delegating stuff to. Trust them to do a good job. It's really, really difficult for people to do the job you expect when you expect them to fail.
Yeah.
And number 3, recruit great people. Just find individuals that you want to be around. Find individuals that, not necessarily think exactly like you, but share enough of the same values that when all the chips are down, they're ready to fight. So I would say those 3 things. Now, this, if I dug deeper, we'd be here for hours and we'd chat about it.
Oh, there's so much.
Those
Yeah.
are things that are awesome.
No, I think you're accurate. You don't want people to think like you, but similar values. If everybody thinks the same, then you don't need the other people because you'll all agree.
Right.
Well, like we started, success comes from discussion. You can't have a discussion if it's an agreement session. Nobody gets anything done. It doesn't make any sense. That is
like a cult,
Well, it's hard these days to find people you can have a discussion with because if you don't agree with everybody, then you're not friends.
Oh my goodness.
Insane.
You see how many groups I get kicked off just because I asked to be educated.
Every time you see me wearing anything from Liverpool, you give me harassment. And that's the joy of soccer.
It has to be. It's boring if not,
It's not like you're watching the scores.
No, my Facebook right now is full of it's full of back and forth for the Euros. It's part of the fun. I love these times, it's just, people. And here's the crazy thing. You talk about discussion, right? More times than not, I will go into a conversation and someone has something to say, and I'm like, wow, you are right. I never really thought about that. I never saw it that way. And all of a sudden, I'm better than when I went into the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just 100% right. But yeah, man, I will continue to give you crap if you
I know.
put on, the Liverpool jersey.
I'll give you more Will Ferrell pictures playing soccer.
It's a great movie. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. Kicking and Screaming, very good.
Yep, love that movie.
Absolutely. Well, Okletey, thank you today for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry we had a little bit of internet trouble there, but we'll get that tightened up. For anybody who's seen the video, if you'd like a copy of the link to recording, drop your email in the chat. If you'd like to see if you could qualify to be interviewed, drop your email in the chat. If you'd like notifications of our further live streams, drop your email in the chat. Basically, if you liked it at all, drop your email in the chat. If you want to learn anything about or get any information on getting consulting or recruiting, anything like that, drop your email in the chat and say what you want, because we can't just read your mind, or shoot me an email. But we want to do this to help people get message out, help people learn. One of the obsessions that Okletey and I share is helping other people grow as humans, to become better at what you do, at who you are, and how you're going to do it. Because, like we talk about, once you have kids, you got to try to help the world so that they'll maybe help your kid too. And you look at everybody you hire as somebody's child. So weird.
Oh my goodness. 100%. It's so weird you said that, because I was just thinking about that today. I was like, man, okay, well, we got to do this a little differently. We got to make this worth their while. Someone's kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never thought that way.
No, I didn't before. I was like, no, we have to excel, and you got to do it now, and there's no waiting. And sort of like, I was super intense and over the top and whatnot, but you can build a great business and have a good time. And it's fun. And you can do it longer and better and make more money. It's beautiful.
More people like you that way too. So
I've learned that. Cool. Okay, have a great week. Happy 4th. Kick some ass. And if I can, just give me a buzz when you get a chance.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.